Hey, Minnesota, this is Christopher Seymore. Second edition today, before noon, so these are still the morning hours. I have a gentleman rider with me, African-American young man by Christopher. Ironic, my name is Christopher. So today we have the two Christophers on the Uber Senator Show, where you can get a lift on life as I am running for senator. And Christopher has volunteered to accept the challenge. Sit up a little bit, Christopher, so they can see your face.
Sir.
There he go, y'all. So, Mr. Christopher, on the show today, what questions would you have for me to answer?
Well, the first question is, I would every time, actually say make tax cuts or tax breaks, or they cut off taxes, it's always education, Social Security, and medical. We have people out here and children out here that need medical and need Social Security. So that's one of my biggest pet peeves.
I'm going to put it to you this way. You heard birds of a feather flock together?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so my last Uber Senator show was with a white female, older, and she asked, why is it that the public officials get different health care and they wouldn't want Obamacare for themselves? And so when you think about it, like if I do become senator, the very first day, my salary goes from teacher salary to $176,000 a year, right? My benefits package astronomically goes up. I can afford to retire on that. I quit my job as an educator because I know my retirement as an educator would not afford me to live in Minnesota and afford my house taxes, okay? So it's a no-brainer. The reason why they do it is it doesn't affect them like it affects you, okay? So when they give these corporate breaks, they give those breaks to corporations, and they take that money from our children, like you said. Think of our National Cabinet Director of Education, what's her name, Bessie DeVos?
Yes.
Private billionaire money, okay? When she had some vandalism occur to her, it was vandalism on a multi-million-dollar yacht, okay? I don't know what vandalism on a yacht would cost me, but I know that they have insurance to pay for it. You know what I'm saying? So when it comes to her, she has no idea what educational tax cuts even look like, sound like, feel like. She can't fathom them. So even if she does think, oh, it's okay to cut a little bit of taxes. So for her, when you cut 10% of $1 billion, what's that? $1 million?
White House.
It doesn't. All right.
Yes.
Okay. $1 million is less than a drop in a bucket for her. You know what I'm saying? So how they think and how we think are two different things. And that's why I'm running for office, people, is to expose how they think versus how we think. So I haven't raised any money. I've raised the issues about the money that they spend and don't give to us,
right,
or don't set aside for budgetary allotments for people who are homeowners.
right.
Because for me, I believe that the tax levy system is good for education, but as a homeowner, we should have a cap on it somewhere.
Yes.
We can't say, oh, inflation's going up, so we'll raise the taxes on the house owner. Well, you didn't think that inflation's going up for the tax-paying citizen also?
Right.
When their taxes go up, their income goes down, but you raise their taxes because you say, for what reason again? It just doesn't make sense in the long run for people who are tax-paying citizens. Their education gets cut for their children. Their medical expenses go up because medical costs go up, and the government's not doing anything to help that via universal income, lowering the cost of medicine, because the corporations get to say, well, we want to raise it to whatever we want to raise it to.
Right.
That's capitalism and not socialism.
Right.
So they call social spending of education, medical, and transportation back and forth to those things as part of a socialism campaign.
Right.
And I'm not a socialist, but I do believe in social community spending. So what I would like to do for our state is interject a $36 billion 16-year investment plan for our children, for all of our children across the board, and put that money in allocated areas that can't be touched by budgetary spending.
Right.
Because the Republicans and the Democrats are going to fight regardless. I can't stop that. They've been fighting since before the Civil War. They're going to fight continuously until we vote them out of office. The only way Republicans and Democrat two-party system goes away is if we have humans that no longer vote for them. And then they're done. We have the laws to do so now, but the trickery of these systems, man, is high power.
Of course.
Yeah. You have a second question?
Well,
Hold up. Let me turn off. So what's your second question?
Well, my second question would be, my problem is, I come from a different generation.
Mm-hmm.
I'm 47 years old. When I was a kid, my mom had let's go out and we would play,
Mm-hmm.
Go to the recreation center. How can we get kids back interested in
Mm-hmm.
playing sports
Yes.
instead of playing PS4s and,
Yes.
and Xbox Ones? How can we get them to back playing baseball and
Yeah.
football and get them back into going into the recs and play? You know,
Mm-hmm.
they don't think that's cool because other kids want something positive. They want to be some negative.
Yeah.
things, you know?
Gotcha.
And it's kind of messed up because we did negative things, but that was only because we had the wrong place at the wrong time. Or sometimes you just get caught in the moment and you just
Yeah.
But these kids, they live to, they have no manners.
Gotcha.
They have no morals. They have
So what I like to tell people, and haters get mad at me for this, I tell people to take out their cell phone and Google Christopher Seymore, Seymore, because outside of politics, especially for our people, I have something called African American Self-Reparations Think Tank that will break the mental slave grip of our people, and that will raise the morale of our children to not get caught up into the negatives that institutionalized racism has afforded us to forget our past. And you know how it goes. When you forget your past, you don't learn your history, you're doomed to repeat the ills of your history, okay? And so, back to that, in politics, as a senator, I will be fighting for Minnesota to get $36 billion, as well as Chicago and other areas of high poverty area, to reinvest social spending into our children's morale for long term, okay? And again, outside of our budgetary spending, for more community spending of opening programs that does not teach them how to be systematic of any system, culturally responsive, culturally respectful, and culturally sound for all cultures. I was brought up in church, and we were taught, train a child which way to go, and they shall not depart too far from it. Right. You know what I'm saying? Like, before we started recording, y'all, Christopher brought up, we don't have too many big mamas left around to teach the children.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? When Big Mama told us to go out and play, we knew that Big Mama meant don't go out there and get in no trouble. Go be a kid, because she already taught us to stay in a child's place. And she knew what was outside for a child to do. When they called us in, they knew where we were at. Versus, we don't know where our kids at nowadays, and what dope they might be on, and what video games they might be playing. So I am for freedom of speech. But freedom of speech has turned into a capitalistic multiplication of money for corporations, okay? So when I speak on African American self-reparations to break the mental slave grip, I talk about where hip-hop was and where it is now for our children. Right. Misogyny, rape, over-sexualized, dehumanizing, of men and women. You know, to have programs. I teach children in the city of St. Paul to take a look at rap lyrics. You know, we really have to sit down and teach children to be open, honest with them. We might even have to apologize for what we did in the past to give them the future that they have now.
Right.
Because we can't blame the kids for what the kids do, and this is all we got for them. It's our fault. And so being responsible as a man, I want to correct what society did not fix for our children after the 60s civil rights movement. Okay, so they got our voting rights, we got end of segregation, and did not go back and fix the legacy of the poverty gaps, the legacy of the educational gaps, the legacy of men and women pay gaps. You know, those things still affect us to this day. And so how do we get the kids back into sports and things of that nature? Create new jobs, new systems of jobs, to let them know that rap is not just the $1 million career option. 3D printing is a new $1 million career option. Developing apps, learning how to code is a $1 million career option. And I do mean career, not business option. There are people that make $150,000 to $200,000 a year in low-level coding for certain corporations. 5 years, we have a lot of 25-year-old, 30-year-old millionaires walking around. Children don't know that because they don't see that. They see what the public allows them to see, what the government allows them to see. And that gets back into the FCC, the Federal Communications Commission. That stuff is regulated. What the children hear and listen to is regulated. Just like Malcolm X taught us, when you twist that cap, the seal off a liquor bottle, that's a government seal you are breaking. On every liquor bottle. The government allows drunkenness. The government also get paid from you crashing a car and killing somebody else too.
Right.
You get what I'm saying? It's a double-edged sword that I have figured out that this is what's harming our kids. And if we don't set aside a different system for the children while they are children, so that they can change society to what they want it to be for them, because right now we're still designing their brains to think like us, even though we know that the systems of the future are not how we think today. I put out a thing today that's called transient advantage versus sustainable advantage. Sustainable advantage is the old way the Ma Bell monopoly companies did things. Standard Oil did things, you know what I'm saying? Versus transient advantage is how Uber does things, how Lyft does things, how, again, back to 3D company printing will do things. They will change every day. You can print candy. We used to couldn't do that. You can print a dress. We used to couldn't do that. You can print an ear. We used to couldn't do that. That changes our whole society fabric just on what we can print. You can print a whole house nowadays with a 3D printer. Our children don't really know that because that's not an industry that's taught in school. You know what I'm saying? 3D printing has become an industry standard for every industry. Fabrication, fabric, plastics, everything. And we're not preparing our children for these things. So that's why I'm running for senator, to expose what our current politicians don't even know because they're too old. Transient advantage was not a thing taught in school. If you're a senator now, or for some of our people who are running for senator and have never been senator, 60, 70 years old. They don't know about what's being taught in college today. It's not even something for them to think about. So they are not built for offering good governance for the future. I am. At least I hope to be.
Right.
Okay. You have one more question?
No, last question. would be what can we do about it as far as consequences being put upon parents and the children, and parents that allow their kids to like drink and smoke. They drinking and smoking with them. You know, I mean, I come from a different era. We have more kids today saying that they're homosexual or transgender now that we ever had before. And the things that we let, my wording is that the things that we used to concern us, we don't let it bother us because we say, well, it don't affect me now. You know, but it will affect you later.
Yes.
And also that the parents don't seem like they even care.
Gotcha.
They rather their kids smoke and drink with them.
Yeah.
Because they feel like
if they're at home,
with me,
I've heard that argument before.
They won't get in trouble or they won't get hurt.
Yeah.
Anything like that. But that's not the way that parents, because the kids do lose respect for their parents. As for me, I'm 47. I'm already 71. I still can't smoke or drink in front of her. I don't care what it is.
Yeah.
You know, I just have the respect for my mom.
Gotcha.
And so the kids have no respect these days. And it's kind of messed up because I just feel like the parents don't instill it. They're not interested in it. As long as they stay in their bubble, stay where they at, they don't care about what's going on. They don't care about what's going on with them.
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of messed up because we're all human.
Gotcha.
And we should all.
So I'm going to say this. Some of the things that I said with ending the answer with the last question about interjecting the American morale back into America is what my goal is. And so I believe America is a Christian country. I believe we need to start talking about that more. Even if that sounds Republican, so be it. You know, and the reason I can take the Republican Democrat thing out of it, on every dollar it says, "In God we trust."
Right.
So once I get to that platform, I'll be able to speak. So this is why y'all need to vote for me if you're on the side of this gentleman. His name is Chris, African-American man. Is if people vote for me and get me to that platform, I'll be able to stand up and say, we believe in the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, don't we? Here's proof. In God we trust. Okay? And to talk about just what you mentioned, we're losing our children to progressiveness and being ultra, uber liberal. Okay? Even though I did the loud effect and sound in the quote unquote, because I'm in the Democratic Party. And even in the Democratic Party, I go to them and I say, we need to be less liberal. And even though they are progressive, you are progressively deprogressing the progression of our children by being so liberal. Okay? When children don't even know what sexuality is, and you teach them you get to choose now your sexuality, that becomes ingrained in them. We know that what becomes ingrained in your brain sooner or later over time becomes part of your DNA, because we are created beings of God that evolve. We do evolve. You know what I'm saying? There's studies being done on children's hands are different than children's hands from years ago because of the dexterity of video games.
Right.
You hold a big old phone and your thumb got to be able to get over there and touch that other button.
Yeah.
Okay? Because the other thumb got to work over there. You know what I'm saying? Boys' hips are different nowadays because of sagging. That's a study. You hear me? Scientific study with data, because of how we've let things progress into being awful. You hear me? Yeah. And that's why I say we owe them an apology, because what we knew as young men, sagging was a gay thing in prison. Your booty showing, so it's out there for somebody to get.
Right.
This is black community talk, and it's not politically correct, but in our culture, this is true talk.
Right.
And now we know sagging is cool because the mainstream rap industry, who is funded by Jewish millionaire and billionaires, no matter who your favorite rapper is, Google them, go to Wikipedia, find out who owns the record label, and you can follow the trail, not back to I pay myself. No rapper pays themselves, except for maybe Master P, but not Jay-Z. And he at the top.
Right.
You get what I'm saying?
Right.
Even though, I gotta say this, E40, independent, Ice Cube, independent, but their distribution is not.
Right.
They don't own the Cox Brother trucks that distribute up and down the freeway all the time. And what do we say? Those are the brothers that fund bad politics. It's a circle to keep us trapped.
Right.
And so again, I'm running for politics to expose these things. Politicians don't speak this way because they get paid by the people who keep it that way.
Right.
The institutions that keep our children's brains trapped are the same institutions that pay politicians to deregulate communication federally of what gets sold. Video games now, mass killing. No, when we grew up, you know like I know. Turn that mess off. All that killing, you're gonna kill somebody. Turn that music off. Listen to all that killing, you're gonna kill somebody. Because we were taught, so as a man thinketh, so does a man do. And what I teach my children is at least even it out. I listen to Twister, and I like Twister. But I know I can't listen to Twister all the time without going back and give me a little Jesus, a little jazz, to even my brain out. You can't be on the same wavelength. Right. And because they teach this stuff in college, what I'm saying is true. Psychology, doctorate degree of infant, children, child, adolescent, senior, psychology, the stages of the brain. That's why politicians spend money, millions of dollars, on campaigning for a job that pays less than $200,000. Why is that? Because they need to research how to control the brain of the voter. Control the brain of the voter. That's what they do. That's why it's red on the Republican side and it's blue on the Democrat side. And that's why our black brothers and sisters choose red for the Crips, for the Bloods, the Vice Lords, and the affiliated sets, and blue for the Gangster Disciples, the BGs, the Crips, and the affiliated sets, because those are the two controlling colors of the most powerful white men in the United States of America since its inception. And no other politician will tell you what I'm telling you. That's how it works. That's exactly how it works. And so, you want to share this show? Hashtag the Uber Senator Show. Put your name Christopher in there. You'll definitely see it, my man. I have to ask, did I pass your challenge?
Oh, yes, you did, man. You have a blessed day.
Never fails, y'all. This man told me God will be on your side if you're on the side of God, and I pray as much as I can. I'm not a perfect man, bro. I ask for forgiveness of sin every day.
We all do.
Yeah, but if God we trust is on my dollar, I got to trust God.
For sure.
Thank you, sir.
Hey, man, you have a blessed day, bro.
All right, y'all.
Thank you, man.
Yes, sir.
I appreciate that.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. This has been Chris with the Uber Senator Show signing off. Please go vote August 14th. Peace.